The ravaging of Africa has been enriching Europe and North America for more than 500 years.
First, European empires imposed slavery and colonialism on the continent.
After 1945, the United States took over as the dominant neo-colonial power.
Through the Pentagon and the CIA, the U.S. government has fueled 14 wars in Africa with arms transfers and military training.
It is American invasion, but the U.S. role is everything.
The U.S. has used the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to systematically demolish African economies and health and education sectors.
Par les stratégies de la Banque mondiale, les pauvres seront toujours pauvres, les riches seront toujours riches.
This military and economic war enables the looting of Africa's resources by Western multinational corporations.
Shell is into the politics of Nigeria, you know. One might say we have our independence, but economically we are still being colonized.
Washington's genocidal imperial strategy has killed more than 26 million Africans, but failed to suppress popular resistance.
We have refused to die. We are living for Africa. No matter what they do, no matter what power they have.
You are listening to The Ravaging of Africa, a 4-part documentary series about the destructive impact of U.S. imperialism on the continent. I'm Asad Ismi.
I'm Kristen Schwartz.
Voices and sounds in this series were recorded at the 2007 World Social Forum, held in Nairobi, Kenya.
This is African Resistance, the 4th and final episode in our series. For the next half hour, we celebrate diverse African struggles against imperialism. We highlight voices from Mozambique, the Congo, Somalia, South Africa, Benin, and Kenya. Stay tuned.
We social movements from across Africa and across the world have come together here in Nairobi at the 2007 World Social Forum to highlight and celebrate Africa and her social movements, Africa and her unbroken history of struggle against foreign domination, colonialism and neocolonialism.
That was Kenyan activist Wahu Kara at the 2007 World Social Forum held in Nairobi, Kenya. More than 500 years of slavery, colonialism, and neocolonialism have not been able to suppress the African spirit of resistance.
Africa has produced inspiring anti-imperialist leaders and thinkers, including Patrice Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, Samora Machel, Thomas Sankara, Stephen Biko, and Julius Nyerere. Lumumba, the Congo's first elected prime minister, wanted to take his country in a socialist direction. His murder was arranged by the CIA in 1961.
Hailed as Africa's brightest star, Ghana's President Nkrumah called for an anti-imperialist Pan-African organization and non-alignment in the Cold War. He was overthrown in a CIA-backed military coup in 1966. Burkina Faso's President Sankara refused to pay his country's debt. He was overthrown and assassinated in a military coup in 1986. These heroes would not compromise with U.S. imperialism and capitalism and had to be killed or removed by Washington.
U.S. imperial strategies have been defeated by fierce military resistance in southern Africa, and the fight continues in the Congo and Somalia today. In 1988, Angolan and Cuban troops defeated apartheid South Africa's military at the crucial Battle of Cuito Carnaval, a town in the south of Angola. With U.S. support, South Africa had invaded Angola in 1975 to prevent the left-wing government of the Popular Movement for the Liberation of Angola, MPLA, from taking power. Cuba sent troops in 1975 to fight with the MPLA. The Angolan-Cuban victory led to the liberation of 4 countries from the domination of the South African apartheid regime: Angola, Mozambique, Namibia, and South Africa itself. South Africa attacked Mozambique as well, which also had a left-wing party in power, Frelimo. The MPLA and Frelimo collaborated in the fight against the apartheid forces. In 1975, Angola and Mozambique had just emerged from 465 years of brutal Portuguese colonial rule.
Amade Suka is from Mozambique. He works for the Center for Developmental Social Studies in Maputo and is a member of the Mozambican Social Forum.
Yeah, Mozambique has you know, to have our independence, we had to fight. We have to form a liberation movement to fight the colonialists, the Portuguese colonialists that they were dominating the country. And after that, we had the regime of South Africa, the apartheid regime of South Africa, that also was against the policy that Mozambique took, because Mozambique was a socialist-oriented, took the socialist orientation approach. So that wasn't good for U.S. And U.S. through South Africa, they were able also to create a sort of destabilization in the country. So during the war between Angola and South Africa, when the South Africans invaded Angola through Namibia, Mozambique played an important role, helping the Angolans also in the process of the struggle. The fight was happening in Mozambique. It was another way of weakening the enemy, because then the South African, they had to fight with the Mozambican border and also the Angolan through the Namibian border. So it was difficult for South Africans to have at the same time 2 fronts lying.
In Mozambique, the U.S., through South Africa, backed a group called Renamo, a vicious armed engine of destruction created by the intelligence service of racist Rhodesia. Renamo committed massive atrocities against civilians in a 16-year-long war with Frelimo. The war killed 1 million people.
The Renamo was just to destabilize the country because of the system the country adopted. And that system was not the one that the U.S. was apology of. They were afraid in terms of hegemony, in terms of controlling the world. They felt that Mozambique was being lost, and was being lost at that time for Russia. So they wanted to destabilize the country so that they could bring back the country for themselves. So that was the scenario at that time of the Cold War. The way they were acting, it was exactly to burn houses, I mean to block roads and to kidnap people, this kind of things. The idea was exactly to make sure that the country suffers.
Mozambique also helped the African National Congress, ANC, in South Africa, which was fighting against the apartheid regime. There were ANC bases within Mozambique.
Mozambique supported the INC comrades and activists in the country. We had three times the South Africans that they came to Mozambique, to a region called Matola and another region called Bairro Central. So they went to those the area, and then they had the riots on that during the night. So indeed we had South African attacking Mozambique in specific areas.
Though it killed 1 million people in Mozambique and 500,000 in Angola, the United States failed to achieve its objective of overthrowing the Frelimo and MPLA governments. The South African army was resoundingly defeated by Angola and Cuba at the Battle of Quito Carnaval, leading to the liberation of all of southern Africa.
The massive moment was exactly at the Quito Carnaval, when the Angolans, they defeated the South African. It was when they smashed them, and then it was concluded that, you cannot go further.
The key to this victory was unity and collaboration between Angola, Mozambique, the ANC, and the Namibian liberation movement, SWAPO, combined with the crucial international solidarity shown by Cuba.
I think the major secret is exactly the unity. Yeah, there was a strong revolution unity. There was a strong solidarity among the liberation movement in all Southern Africa. Most of the African leaders during the liberation movement, they met in countries like Tanzania, like in Algeria, and they formed a group, and then they decided, they were